What's up, guys? Mason the Brock Henderson here, and this is The Walking Dead Season 9, Episode 7, Stradivarius. Don't you do it. Don't do it. That dog better survive all the way to the end of the freaking show. Telling you, right now, Walking Dead, that dog doesn't make it, I'm gonna come after whoever made that decision. Whichever writer said, hey, what if we took out the dog? I try to avoid watching like any movies that I see that are kind of apocalypse setting, or if the dog is the main character. I try to avoid that because I don't want to have my heart broken by watching an animal die and watching the person who owns the animal or loves the animal react to that, because yeah, it sucks. And I don't want to deal with that. So, just gonna go ahead and say right now, if that happens, I might have to take a break from the show for a little bit. But, anyways, back to what actually happened in this episode. Overall, it was very interesting. The way that they're setting up kind of what happened, seeing how much Michonne doesn't want to see Maggie right now, to the point where she wasn't even going to go to Hilltop until she heard that Maggie wasn't there. And even then, just the idea that maybe she doesn't want to go there. I do kind of wish they would tell us why. My guess is that because Maggie was essentially trying to go against what Rick wanted to do and trying to kill Negan, and because of that, the series of events that led to him eventually dying, like from their point of view, like Maggie and Daryl both had their hands in that. So I wonder if that's why she doesn't want to see Maggie, and if so, then when she sees Daryl again, is there going to be some friction there? Does she not want to see Daryl at all? I don't know. We never really got a clear explanation as to why, and think they're I hope they're not doing it because we're just supposed to assume why. Because if so, like, I'm not entirely clear. That's just my best guess as to why she doesn't want to see Maggie. And as far as why Maggie left in the first place, I have no clue whatsoever. Maybe just the idea of being involved in this whole setup that Negan used to be involved in. Maybe she just couldn't deal with it anymore. I have no clue. But yeah, seeing how things are set up right now, it definitely is set up to the point where everybody's very separated. They're trying to set up this idea of a fair so that everybody can get together again and start to talk about possibly reconnecting. And of course, we're seeing Michonne is just totally against that because I guess she's just refusing to trust anybody anymore. So hopefully that starts to change. Hopefully we do start to see Michonne realize the error of these past 6 years, closing herself and Alexandria off from anybody else. I think she's starting to realize that, and I do like the fact that Judith is kind of the one that set this up, essentially talking to her and saying, this is what Carl wanted. Because it would take somebody like Judith to be able to get through to Michonne, because everybody else has clearly tried several times and nothing has really worked. So I hope that's where they're going with it. I don't exactly know how the season is going to end, if it's going to end with everybody coming together again, or if we're just going to get introduced to this new threat, whatever it is. We're seeing more and more glimpses of it. We see with Rosita running away from whatever they are. I can't remember. I feel like I remember seeing that they were called the Whisperers. I think. Could be wrong about that. But yeah, I like the setup for this, whoever this villainous group is. I feel like they're doing a good job of making them seem intimidating. I mean, Rosita was just completely terrified in her scenes for this episode. So yeah, a lot of good build up, a lot of good tension building as well. As far as I guess what we're seeing with this new group, still a little unsure of them. Like, it seems like they are good people, and it seems like they are building up that they are going to be helping out in the long term. Got a little bit more of Luke in this episode, and he is, I don't know. I like the guy that plays him. The guy that plays him is a good actor, and I appreciate what he brings to the two roles that I've seen him in so far. But this one, seeing how much he's obsessed, but it's not a fetish with instruments. The one scene I did think was a little dumb was the scene where Michonne caught him like looked like he was working on something, and I guess she assumed it was a weapon, and so she's like, put it down, and then he like turns around quickly wielding the violin. Like, dude, you couldn't put it down, or you couldn't say it's just a violin? Like, what? Why would you? That makes you look like you're about to hit her with something, so of course she's gonna break it. But everything else, I thought it was good to see a little bit more of this group and see how their dynamics work. I don't know if we're supposed to know anything about them. I don't know if like they're from the comics or if there's any connection to Fear the Walking Dead. Maybe I have no clue, but I like what we're seeing, how they are connected, how they work together. And essentially kind of each person in the group has their good and their bad. You know, there's some like Luke that are a little bit more chill, a little bit more no, we want to work together, but in the same time he's also a little naive, not the best in a fight, as we saw whenever the walkers attacked him at the end. But then you have your better fighters like I want to say it's Magna or Magna, I don't know. But she obviously seems a little bit more tough, seems a little bit more reliable, but she's also a bit more hot-headed. So they're talking about, no, we're not going to give you weapons. And she's like, well, just screw it then. We'll leave you. We don't care. And it seems like the... Tomiko? Is that her name? I'm still learning the names. Luke is the only one that stood out just because like it's very easy to remember. I think one of them's Colin or Connie. Connie maybe is the deaf one. I'm really trying hard to remember them all, but the one that that Sadiq fixed up, she seems to be sort of the mediator in the group, almost the mother of the group. Like she's the one that steps in when they do start to argue, they do start to disagree. She's the one that's like, hey, let's calm down, let's think about this. So I like their group setup, their group dynamic. I don't know how they're gonna fit in with our main group, going to Hilltop and stuff, but I like what we've seen from them so far. Trying to remember what else. Having Jesus be in charge of Hilltop, I mean, it makes sense because he was basically Maggie's right-hand man when she was in charge, so it makes sense that he would take over, but I do find it a little weird that he just assumes, oh yeah, Maggie's coming back, this is just temporary, to the point where he won't even use her office to make these decisions and stuff. So I maybe just a little in denial there that she is gone and she's not coming back to take back over or whatever. Also the fact that he really feels like the fact he's running everything, and every time, I guess this is not the first election that they've held, and it sounds like he's always the one that runs and that's it. Like he runs, they vote for him, he wins because nobody else is running. And it is kind of funny to see him go, well, I mean, nobody else ran, so does it even mean anything? I don't know if that's coming from a sense of he doesn't feel like he needs to get excited because nobody else ran, or if it's coming from a place of, I wish somebody else would run so it wasn't just, I'm in charge, it's my ideas, and that's it. But yeah, I hope to find out a bit more about Hilltop and what they've been doing for the past 6 years. It seems like they've really expanded. They have these big fields of crops and stuff. So yeah, very good setup though. Don't know where it's going to go from here. I assume we're going to start seeing more of these villainous people that are hiding in the shadows right now. We're probably going to see more of them in the next episode. Really probably get introduced to them at least in the next 2 or 3 episodes, so that way we have the final like 5 or 6 episodes to really focus on trying to stop them or trying to take them down, whatever the case is going on. But yeah, so far so good in this one. On to the next episode. I'll see you there. Now episode 8, Evolution. I know it's evolution, but I don't know why. Ever since I played Arkham Knight and that one guy was like, Evolution, I just like that pronunciation. Can't explain it. No, but finally get to see, I guess, the first true example of what these new villains are. Didn't expect to lose Jesus. I mean, once you got to that scene in the graveyard and he went off, he's like, go, I'll hold him off. I'm like, okay, so he's probably about to die, right? Like, he thinks he can take all of them, but there's going to be one that's not actually a walker that's going to kill him, and that's exactly what happened. So it's one of those, I didn't think he would die so soon, especially considering like everything that's going on with Hilltop, Maggie leaving him in charge. I know Tara was basically doing everything that he should have been doing as a leader, so I'm sure she'll take over, but Just him kind of dealing with the fact that Maggie didn't seem like she was going to be coming back. I honestly did not expect for him to die. Um, that came out of nowhere a little bit before that scene actually started, of course. No, but very interesting to see, I guess, our first true example, like actually see an example of these people that are hiding amongst the walkers, and not only hiding, but also directing the herds toward their enemies. I don't really know exactly why. Like, I hope we get a good sense as to why these people are doing it, because, I mean, it's not like you can just sit in the herd for weeks and weeks on end, like just directing them wherever you want and not get anything for it. So I guess they must have some sort of base where they probably keep just this giant herd of walkers and they just have them ready to go. And so they just go out, they draw a herd of walkers with them, which I still feel. I mean, I get the fact that, yes, they are disguised, so the walkers aren't going to realize that they're human, but it still feels like, when Daryl sets off the firecrackers and the dog is barking, trying to draw him away, it still feels like some of the walkers would be drawn toward the sound. Like, it's odd to me that, oh, well, all of these walkers in front of me are going this way and the sound's over that way. I'm going to go this way with them. It feels weird. Like, I don't really think that would happen. Now, granted, of course, this isn't exactly a logical world because the dead can walk, so it doesn't quite work. But at the same time, based on what we've seen, they just sort of mindlessly follow, I don't know, sound, noise, bright lights. I guess we have seen in the past, like, whenever they walk off bridges and stuff and into water, they do tend to just follow the leader in front of them. But I feel like they would have to have a lot of people hidden amongst the walkers to be able to direct them so well. Hopefully we'll get kind of a sense of how they're doing what they're doing. Maybe they have some sort of like noise maker with them that's drawing the walker alongside them. I don't know. But I do want to get to know why they're doing this. Is it so that they can essentially use the walkers to take down groups of people that are probably stronger than they are and essentially steal their stuff? How many of them are there? Because it seems odd that there's this big group of people out there that we've not seen before now. But I'm assuming this is probably the herd or the group using a herd of walkers that tried to attack the new group that just joined. So yeah, very, very interesting stuff. Negan escaping, I don't really know what's going on there. Like, I liked his scenes with Father Gabriel, but then all of a sudden, like, his gate is just open. Like, somebody just didn't lock it, forgot to. How do you do that? I mean, I know he's been there for a long time, so maybe you just don't see him as much of a threat anymore. But you still would make sure to lock the door every time, right? Like, did they do this on purpose, or is it just somebody got lazy and just like, whatever, it's not locked, I don't care. Seems odd. I don't really know what he plans to do, because, I mean, Rick's already gone, so it's not like he can go get revenge on him for messing up everything he was trying to do. But maybe he's going to go back to that again, and I don't know. After what happened with Maggie 6 years ago, it kind of seemed like he was no longer Negan. That tough, charismatic, like, I'm totally in control. Like, that type of character seemed like he was gone. But now he seems back to his normal self whenever he's talking to Gabriel. Like, he is a bit more sympathetic at times. He does seem to chill out with the making jokes and insulting. But he still seems like he's back to his cocky, I'm in control type of self. So I don't really know what to expect now that he is basically free in Alexandria. Like, is he going to try to kill people? Is he going to try to escape? I know he was talking about, like, Lucille. He wants to go find her. I assumed he was talking about the bat, but then whenever Maggie went to kill him, I assumed that no, he actually was talking about his wife, Lucille. Like, he wants to go see her again because Maggie was going to kill him and essentially let him go to the afterlife where he could see his wife. I don't know. I don't really know what to expect from that. I just hope that there is a good reason why that gate was unlocked and not just happenstance, because if so, I'll be a little pissed that they just so easily let one of the most dangerous people that they've faced out so easily. I'm trying to think if there's anything else. The whole thing with Henry seems to be taking a little too much time. Not really a big fan of his story right now, just because, I mean, I like what he's doing, but it feels like he's getting a lot of focus, and it's not really that interesting. You know, you got these kids that are kind of crazy, you know, just going out and messing with this walker, have it trapped in a pit, throwing darts and trying to toss rings on its head. I'm just like, I mean, I've seen this before in Fear the Walking Dead, and it wasn't that interesting there either. It seems like, oh yeah, come on Henry, come hang out with us, we're cool, oh, have some drinks, oh, now we're gonna go outside the walls even though we're not supposed to because we're rebellious youth. And I don't know, like, I get the whole like rebellious youth cliche has been done a million times, but doing it in an apocalypse, I always feel like is the dumbest version of the cliche, because you have to survive. Like, would kids still be this stupid in a world where you could die like that? I mean, technically, that's how our world is anyway. You know, run out in the street, you get hit by a car, somebody does something stupid. A lot of crazy people out there that are, you know, willing to attack big groups of people. So, yeah, obviously it's not quite the right, I guess. What am I trying to say here? Essentially, in a world like this, where it's a lot easier to die. It's a lot like you are fighting for your survival most days. You know, in our world, you can just sort of stay home and you'll be fine for the most part. But, I mean, in The Walking Dead, you go out there are things that are trying actively to kill you. It's crazy. It's insane. Would kids really still be this stupid and this rebellious, where they're just like, yeah, let's just goof off, get drunk, let's break curfew, go outside the wall at night, let's mess with this killer thing that could easily kill us if one of us got a little too drunk and fell into the hole. I don't know, it just seems kind of stupid. Like, anytime you have a character or characters like this, it just doesn't seem realistic to me. And maybe this is how it really would be. Maybe kids would still be stupid and ignorant kids, even in the apocalypse. But I don't want to see it. I don't really care about this storyline because of that. At first I thought it was just going to be, oh, he's crushing on Enid, maybe that's going to be a thing. But then whenever he met these three, I'm just like, oh, great, we're going to have this storyline again where he's going to do something he's not supposed to because of them. So yeah, a little frustrated there, but everything else is pretty good stuff, and definitely excited to see more of this new enemy because I like this setup. And especially, I mean, it's not always going to be like this, where they're in a dark graveyard with fog all around and just a bunch of whispering, but that still is intimidating. It's still intimidating to be out and about. You see a bunch of walkers and you're thinking, this is no problem. All of a sudden you start hearing whispering from the walkers, and these people start using the walkers, like essentially tactically throwing them at you almost. I like that. And honestly, you don't know, like, can I just go up to this one and stab it in the head, or is it going to be a real person that's going to block my attack and throw me to the walker? Like, it definitely sets up for some very scary moments and very nerve-wracking moments where all of a sudden things seem fine and then they're not fine. So yeah, looking forward to what's going to come next. But on to episode 9. I'll see you there. And finally, episode 9, Adaptation. Judith is definitely one of my favorite characters. So pitting her with Negan is just the perfect mashup because I already really like Judith's character, and Negan, of course, is probably one of the best villains we've had on the show. So seeing the two of them square off, and you just know, like, Negan could easily take Judith if he wanted to. Like, Judith, yes, she has the weapons, but Negan's smart. He could easily take her down, but she's a kid. He doesn't really want to. And I think he respects her guts, her gusto. Same way like he respected Carl. So yeah, I had a lot of fun watching their scenes, you know, her finding him sneaking out. It honestly makes me wonder if maybe she had something to do with like unlocking his cage. I can't imagine that's the case because I feel like that would have been mentioned, but again, just the fact that the gate was just left open and unlocked is still very weird to me, and it never got explained as to what happened. But I did enjoy seeing Negan's story, though, seeing how he sort of figures out that, yeah, everything that he built, everything of the Saviors is gone. And so, kind of realizing that, he's like, well, I guess I really don't have any reason to be out here in the middle of nowhere all by myself, so I'll go back. And it makes sense for him, because he is an intelligent man. So, living his life in captivity is better than him just sitting out there in the middle of nowhere and eventually being taken down by a walker. Um, which I will be curious to see what he plans to do, like what his next step is. Because I know there was a point where he did want to be killed by Maggie, but I don't think he just wants to die. I don't think he feels like, well, I'm just done here. He wants it to be with some purpose. He wants there to be a reason for him to go down. Um, like I said, Maggie killing him, I think, was kind of, in his mind, the perfect way for him to die. Is like, well, I killed her husband, so her killing me, that makes sense. But him just dying from some walker doesn't really make sense to him. So he's like, I'm not going to stay out here. At least that's what I got from it. I don't know if that's actually the case or not. But yeah, we'll see what happens with him being back at Alexandria. We do finally see the main, I guess, group of people. The girl that gets taken into Hilltop, I really do wonder how much she knows. Like, clearly we see there's more than just 10 of them. I mean, I think we could figure that out, just based on the fact that there seem to be so many herds that seem to be controlled by these people. So, I don't know if she was lying on purpose or if she honestly didn't know. Like, maybe there are different sects of these people, and just they all live in their own group, and maybe some of them are just trying to survive and like this is the best way, or she's just putting on an act, which, if that's the case, she's going really, really hard trying to pretend. Like, I don't know, it seems odd that she's so committed to this bit of like being the scared prisoner, like, no, I don't know anything, there's just 10 of us, I need to find my mom. It feels like this is all just a lie. So is she putting this on for other people? Like, is she, with Henry in the other cell, does she know that he's there? Is she trying to put this act on so that he starts to feel for her and care for her, and maybe he'll try to stop Daryl? Or I don't know. I don't really know what her goal is, or if she's being very genuine in her fear and not knowing anything. But I just find that very unlikely, considering she was with a group of, what, like 3 or 4 of them. Oh goodness, I'm getting a little tired. But yeah, so I'm curious to see more about them, and then seeing Alden and Luke get taken in. It sets up for some good tension, especially with Enid apparently being an item with Alden now, which sort of came out of nowhere and didn't really contribute anything to the plot other than now he's out there and in danger. So now we have more of a reason to care about him because he and Enid are a thing. Like, that's honestly what it felt like. Like, as soon as I saw that moment where they kissed, I'm like, okay, so is that really what we're doing? Like, he's just going to go out there and maybe be hurt, maybe be captured, and that's the only reason they're together now? So I don't know. Well, maybe there's something else to it. Also, really don't know what's going on with Rosita, because we see she's with Father Gabriel now, but apparently she's pregnant with Sadiq's kid, so she's just sleeping around with everybody. I don't know. It seemed like another random plot development that, for me, doesn't really make any sense. It doesn't. I don't know. It just doesn't really add. Honestly, it sort of takes away from Rosita's character, knowing that before she was seeing Father Gabriel, she was just apparently sleeping with Sadiq for no real reason other than, we were having fun. Like, I don't know. I get, it's the apocalypse. It does seem like the rules are kind of out the window, and the rules of society, which even in our society, there are some people who do still sleep around. But I don't know. As far as the story is concerned, I don't know what this is supposed to do. I don't know what this adds. Rosita has not really been one of my favorite characters, honestly. Like, she's sort of been there. The only thing that's kept me interested is the fact that she's Susie from Ned's Declassified. That's the only thing that I found interesting about her. Other than that, I'm like, there's not really much in her character that makes me really care about her. Like, they've just sort of, they put her with a few guys here and there, like with Abraham, and then with the one dude that tried to I guess, stab Rick in the back to Negan, and then Negan kills him because of that. Like they've been putting her with all these different guys, and that seems to be it. And I don't know, because of that, she's not been that interesting to me. So I maybe this storyline will somehow make her more interesting, but it's just another guy that she slept with, and now she's got a baby coming. I don't know. Let's see what else. I think that might be about it. We did see the one scene where Aaron was talking to Michonne, and because Jesus got killed, all of a sudden he's saying that she was right, that they do need to sort of stay secluded. But the thing is, like, yeah, obviously there's a lot of walkers out there, and now there are these people disguising themselves as walkers. It is scary, and there are people that could be lost. But at the same time, what are you really accomplishing? By staying behind your walls and not ever leaving, what are you getting done? Not much. You're basically just surviving until the next day. And then the next day. And then the next day. And then the next day. Like, that's basically what you're doing. I feel like that's not right. And I feel like Aaron switching his mindset like that, and Michonne just being like, I'm sorry that all of this happened. I felt like Michonne should have been like, you know what? I may not have been right about this. Because there's not really much to live for at that point. Like, you're just, like I said, living to survive, living for the next day. And I don't know, I feel like where they were going at the beginning of this season, I liked to see more of that. I wanted to see more of that because I feel like it actually gives a purpose. Because the past couple seasons, with Negan especially, have just been about surviving. And then once Negan stepped into the picture, then it was about, well, we have a bad guy to take down. We have somebody who's trying to control us, somebody who is worse than the threat of the walkers, And that gave the team a purpose. It gave somebody to fight. It was a war against Negan and his people. So what do you do after that? Well, now we got to try to find a way to work together so we can rebuild society, and that's our purpose. And it feels like that's sort of been abandoned now, and now there's just another threat that they have to take on. I'm not really sure how I feel about that. It would have been more interesting if they had to focus on trying to rebuild society, but the walkers are still out there. Maybe this other group does show up and does start to cause them problems because they're disguised as walkers. But that doesn't mean you abandon the idea of getting everybody working together to rebuild civilization, because that, for me, was a good way to end this show. Is we see society starting to get rebuilt. We see them start working together again. We see that, okay, they are rebuilding cities. The walkers are still a problem, but it's something that they've managed to deal with, and they've managed to find a solution to the point where, well, now we can actually look to start a government and all of that stuff that you need for a civilization to thrive. So I don't know. I guess we'll see what they decide to do with it next. We'll see what the plan is, if they do decide to abandon any idea of rebuilding society, or if it's just something that's been put on hold for now, and maybe we'll see it, next season or something like that. But anyway, with all that being said, that's about it for these 3 episodes. So let me know what you guys think down in the comment section below. What were your thoughts on these 3 episodes? Let me know. We can talk about and discuss all that good stuff. Leave a like and subscribe for future Walking Dead reviews, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace out.